Hello. Thank you very much. My name is JOBIN. And for the last 3 days, I have been taking part in the symposium. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. This is my third time, and I learned a lot of precious things this time around too. Thank you very much. So 2 years ago, when I joined for the Fukushima Dai-2 nuclear power plant, the health, I studied the health state of the workers at Fukushima Dai-2, second nuclear power plant in Fukushima prefecture. And then after 3/11, we have been working. I researched the people who have been working in Iwaki and the adjacent areas who have been removing rubbles, engaged in cleanup activities. And I don't live in Japan right now, so the proper I cannot do the proper field work. As a sociologist, I cannot do the proper field work because I don't live in Japan. But I get information from the circle of laborers, and I would like this kind of symposium to invite people like that, in fact. But in any case, I was asked to talk about the station workers, and so it is not such a rich content. But yesterday I did a questionnaire, and would like to share with you the result. So this is very similar to the outcome, the conclusion of the publication I made 2 years ago. Nuclear governance. So there's a phrase called the nuclear village, but nuclear governance covers a wider area, and it doesn't consist only of bad people, so to say, and there are sort of government assigned the scholars, and IAEA and Shinzo Abe, and among them, the people, for example, Professor Kosako of University of Tokyo, and Professor Cardis. I visited him in Barcelona, and also Dr. Rulo, who works at the RSN, and she's the student of Mr. Cardis, and so as examples, I've listed these photographs, and so there's in the mapping of nuclear governance and the critique. So the lower the slide you are, the more critical you are about the nuclear power, and the higher, more conservative. And so please think for yourselves, and I will not mention about Dr. Cardis. As I said, Dr. Cardis, as Dr. Rulo also presented yesterday, they surveyed 500,000 nuclear workers. It was an epidemiological study published in 2005 and 2007. And as Dr. Rulo explained, it was a very robust survey. But in comparison to the research into Hiroshima and Nagasaki victims, the confidence interval in the statistical study is wider. The wider the CI, the reliability, the lower the reliability of the result, meaning that the result is weaker when the CI is wider. And as Dr. Rulo explained about the INWORKS study, and there are two important papers have been published, one about cancer, the other about non-cancer. and covering 3 countries instead of 15 countries, as in the previous study, and yet they covered 300,000 workers in a cohort. It was quite impressive. So in comparison to the 2005 and 2007 study or the publication, the exposure has been captured better, and the confidence interval is shorter, smaller than the previous study, meaning that reliability has improved in comparison to the previous study. And so in the sociology, the trust is a very important phrase. So this is an opposite of the distrust, as Ms. Tsuchiya said. And so the general public, I believe they have their own confidence interval, and it's different from that considered by the epidemiologists. But we can discuss that another time. And so this was a very robust survey or the research. So there's a lot of criticism from the government assigned the scientists, and for example, Lancet says that Dr. Rulo's study has problems, and they criticized. So instead of criticism, there was some advocation as well. And for example, the German, the RP, the radiological protection expert, visited the about the Dr. Rulo's paper, and so these studies challenged a no risk under 100 millisievert assertion, but such details are unlikely to change the overall ICRP recommendations, which are deliberately conservative. And therefore, I spoke with, I met Nagasaki sensei, Mr. Nagasaki, twice, and he was severely criticizing of Dr. Cardis's work, and he didn't publish it. He just told me privately, but he did not send his opinion to the magazine, but he basically specifically criticized the Dr. Rulo's work in the Lancet. And so Mr. Mohandas said that the study is based on a false assumption of the LNT model, so it's not worthwhile the evaluation.
What is interesting is that, as Dr. Rulo herself mentioned, when Dr. Doss, or even before Dr. Doss published opinion or criticizing opinion in Lancet, there has been a lot of views exchanged in between Dr. Doss and Dr. Rulo. Dr. Rulo explained them again and again and study design, but never it convinced Dr. Doss, because Dr. Doss didn't want to understand it from the beginning. Dr. Doss wanted to maintain own position. I think that's what happened, even though it's supposed to be scientific. Now, regarding the workers, Kudo-san and Nagataki-san, Kudo-san's study, for instance, is about is an epidemiological study focusing on the workers, not limited to Fukushima. It can be somewhere else. When there is a cancer incidence possibility, do we use a CT scan? Depending on that type of question, the epidemiology study results become very, very important for citizens, general public. But as for the workers, what will be the impact on the workers? There will be not many benefits unless ICRP recommendations get changed as far as workers concerned. And the Ministry of Health, MHWL of Japan, once again, trying to raise the upper limit for the workers to 250 millisievert per year. And there has been a negotiation with the Ministry of Health conducted by a minority trade unions, workers' unions. They have been trying to resist that, but MHL, WL have been saying that ICRP recommendations are this, so we would like to abide by that threshold and reference. And workers have been used as the guinea pigs, to put it frankly, for the epidemiology studies. This is the collective cumulative dose, so which has been the exposure of the workers working in the Fukushima Daiichi. There are 10,000 workers per annum who enter the premises of Fukushima Daiichi. It is almost equal to the pre-311 level. And I think you already know that workers who have been qualified, being eligible to receive an occupational or accident insurance, their number is very, very small. It has been so hidden that many of those workers have not received the eligibility to receive an occupational accident insurance. Well, some of the people in the audience today can be different from yesterday. At the stage of yesterday, these people cooperated with my survey that I conducted. This is really, really a humble survey from the sociological viewpoint, and I distributed a questionnaire to 50 people. 37 responses. Breakdown of gender is 23 males and 14 females. And a certain number of speakers also filled out the questionnaire, but I excluded it because it is not relevant for the purpose of this sociology, for survey. And I realized that the level of the education, I assumed that the level of education in the education is high, and it turned out to be really true. There are most of the people graduated from higher educations and with the BA, MA, or some PhD holders. Average age, as I assumed, was around 50 years old of the age. And this time, CSRP. The question was about the motivation and the reasons why. At this time, you are participating in this CSRP conference. I think many of you agree. In order to get knowledge, in order to agree down, patronize scholars, and to communicate the truth. That was one response, and another answer is that last week I participated in the gathering with ICRP, IRSN, and CEPN people, and I am expecting to have a lot more different perspectives from the CSRP symposium. A third answer, in Japan, I'm wondering what is the dissemination and penetration of the scientific knowledge and findings from the researchers which will be supporting anti-nuclear power generation. As I wanted to know the level of dissemination of such knowledge. And fourth response, I am involved in the research in the nursing of against the radiation disasters. So I would like to know about the impact of a low dose exposure. And the fifth answer, 5.5 years have passed from the TEPCO Fukushima Daiichi accident. So the general public's level of interest has been declining. But on the other hand, well, in parentheses, I'm sure that you have been also feeling the declining level of interest from the news and reports from the press about. And but this person who gave me this fifth response said that, on the other hand, thyroid cancer's number has been increasing. So I want to know if there is a new knowledge. So that was that I wanted to share with you in order to stimulate, if possible, the upcoming discussion with you. Thank you for your attention.